Module 10 is a non detailed study of American literature. Self reliance, Emerson. The essay is considered to be the definitive statement of Emerson's philosophy of individualism. It explains Emerson's phrase, trust thyself, to follow one's own instincts and ideas. Every individual possesses a unique genius that can only be revealed when that individual has the courage to trust his or her own thoughts and attitude. Civil Disobedience by Thoreau. In July 1846, he was imprisoned for not paying a poll tax. He refused to pay it because it supported a nation endorsing slavery. Thoreau defended himself in a lecture of the Concord Lyceum. This lecture was later published under the title Civil Disobedience. He criticizes American social institutions and policies, most prominently slavery and the Mexican American War. He espouses the need to prioritize one's consciousness over the dictates of laws. He says that when a government is unjust, people should refuse to follow the law and distance themselves from the government in general. Arthur Miller's Death of a Salesman has been numbered on the short list of finest American plays in the 20th century. He has won Pulitzer Prize for Death of a Salesman. The novel is seen as un-American for its theme of the failure of the American dream, despair and betrayal of ambition. The major characters are Willie Loman, his wife Linda, and their sons Biff Loman and Happy Loman. The main theme is the loss of identity and a man's inability to accept change within himself and the society. Willie Loman wanted to be a very successful businessman, but he couldn't. So he wants his son Biff Loman to fulfill his dream. But at the end, we can see that Biff Loman is more practical and realistic to life, and Willie Loman, he couldn't accept it. And there was a lot of failures in his life, and he commits suicide. And it is Happy Loman who follows the path of the father. In Buffalo Bills, E.A. Cummings conveys an image of Cody, Buffalo Bill Cody, from the eyes of a young boy who is impressed with the cowboy's speed and inherent skill. But at the end of the poem, it is to conclude that Buffalo Bill is disliked by E.E. Cummings. His disdain is not necessarily directed at the man, but rather the imagery and idea of following of false heroes. It is as if Cummings is blaming Cody for disappointing him, which is understandable since most children or young adults are disheartened when they discover that their chosen heroes turn out to be mere mortals. So, this poem is not a glorified tribute to Buffalo Bill Cody. Allen Ginsberg's poem America is an active expression of Ginsberg's disappointment and anger with the American culture. He voices his frustration with the capitalist agenda, racial and religious prejudice, and war culture that dominated America in the 1950s. He finds the government's active role in religion and social norms extremely oppressive and he determines that he will continue to defy these customs through his work and lifestyle. In this poem, there are many prominent themes such as the previous wars of the decade, nuclear warfare, and the foreign policy in Asia. Other major themes include racial unrest in the US and a resistance against communism. Gertrude Stein's poem Daughter forms a bitter reproach to the way art is treated in America when placed into the path of the American dream. Using her title, the poet gives the idea of a parent speaking to their child. A mental image is formed of a parent telling a story to their daughter, perhaps doubling in meaning, for the daughter could also stand for the speaker's own art, which is often spoken of fondly by an artist as though it were their child. The poem suggests that people are turning from their passions, making the idea of giving them up in the chase of the undefined American dream, which is all the more tragic. Nathaniel Hawthorne's The Scarlet Letter is set between 1642 to 1649 during the Puritan regime in Boston. The narrator is Hawthorne himself. The major characters are Hester Prynne, her daughter Pearl, Reverend Mr. Dimmesdale, who is Hester Prynne's lover, and Roger Chillingworth, Hester Prynne's husband, who was thought to be dead or seemed lost at the sea. Hester Prynne and Reverend Mr. Dimmesdale, they gets into an affair, and people punishes her for adultery. The letter A is embroidered on her dress, and it stands for adultery, but it changes to Abel and at last angel. Mr. Dimmesdale, out of guilt, because he could not accept them in front of the society, he dies. He was a ailing person. And Roger Chillingworth also, at the end of the novel, dies out of revenge. Herman Melville's Moby Dick, or The Whale, is an epic tale that tells a story of the voyage of Captain Ahab and his party in search of Moby Dick, the great sperm whale, on their whaling ship, the Pequod. Ishmael, a sailor, is a narrator of the novel, and at the end of the novel, he is the only person who survives and is rescued by the ship named Rachel. The struggle against Moby Dick, it lasts for 3 days, and the whale stands for the unknowable nature, the absolute power of the natural world, and the inevitability of fate. It is a physical form of evil and malice. So, the main themes in this novel are authority and obedience, destiny and fate, unity and division, etc. It was dedicated to Melville's friend Nathaniel Hawthorne. Ernest Hemingway's The Old Man and the Sea is a novella with a setting of a Cuban village near Havana. Mostly the scenes or the action of the novel is set on the sea in the Gulf Stream. It is known for his code hero, Santiago, a man who is stoic and stays strong against sometimes unbeatable odds. And Manolin is another character who is Santiago's friend. So the novel is all about Santiago's endurance and struggle in catching the great marlin that shows his determination and confidence in himself. There are many symbols: the sea, the lion, marlin, the sharks in the novel. And the major themes are pride, success, heroism, etc. Santiago's knowledge of the sea and its creatures and of the craft is unparalleled. And Manolin signifies a new generation. He has utmost love and respect towards the old man, Santiago, so he represents a perfect companion. Toni Morrison's The Bluest Eye is a novel of girlhood, a victimized adolescent black girl who is obsessed by white standards of beauty and longs to have blue eyes. Pecola Breedlove is a central character, and the narrator of the novel is Claudia McTeer. The light eyes, the blue eyes itself is a symbol, is one among the symbols, which is a sign of beauty. African Americans hate their identity of not having this blue eyes or light eyes. The themes are self loathing, dangers of love, construction of beauty, etc.